Good morning and welcome back, Trinidad and Tobago. Well, we are talking animation in Trinidad and Tobago, and in studio we have the head of the animation department at UTT, Mrs. Camille Selvon-Abrahams, and with her we have her student, one of her students at UTT, Mr. Brandon Phillip. Good morning. How are you all?
Good morning.
So we are talking about animation. Mrs. Selvon-Abrahams, tell us exactly what is animation.
Okay, well, animation basically is the ability to take still images, whether it's drawn or created digitally, and actually have that illusion of movement. So it's actually taking drawings and replicating it in different positions, and then when you look at it, when it plays, it looks as if it's moving, but it's not actually.
Right.
And that's a very basic explanation.
Yeah, anyone can understand.
Yeah.
So I understand that you will have an event called Toon Market. It's an annual event and it's going to be happening today. Tell us about that.
Okay, so at the University of Trinidad and Tobago, the animation diploma started in 2008. So this is our 8th edition, because it's a 2-year program, a 2-year diploma. And at the end of their 2-year diploma, they actually get to screen their film that they've been working on. And it's been quite a platform to encourage them to go on, because this is the beginning of their career. It's an opportunity to show their films, so we screen their films. We invite corporate Trinidad and Tobago, we invite the media, we invite students, we invite artists, so that people could actually be exposed to what these dynamic young people have been working on assiduously for 2 years.
Oh, for 2 years.
For 2 years.
And I understand that, Brandon, you are in your final year?
Yes, I am.
So it's a total of 3 years, a 3-year program.
Two.
So it's 2
Yes,
years.
so
Okay.
he's
It's your final
graduating
year.
this year.
Excellent. So Brandon, I would like to know, what can we expect from you? Tell us a little bit about that t-shirt that you're wearing and what we can expect from you this evening.
Oh, this whole thing. Okay, this is a character from my film named Shibanik.
Shibanik, okay.
Yeah, it means, well, according to my uncle, mischievous imp, which is a suitable, I think is a suitable name for a cat. You know, they always get into mischiefs. And my film is about a cat going into a cave because he hears an unfamiliar sound. And when he gets into the cave, he encounters a bird beast, and then they have a little struggle, and it flings him out the cave.
Okay, how long is that film?
It's 2 minutes and 42 seconds.
So I guess they have a time frame to work with.
Yes.
How many students are in that class?
We start with 25. To be honest, we almost every year end up with about 15, because Brandon will tell you it's a very high intensive course.
Yeah.
And therefore, of course, you'll have dropouts. The good thing about the way how the course is done is that they could always come back and repeat and complete, but there's always a fall off of about 20%. But we start with 25.
How long have you been involved as a tutor, as a lecturer?
I have been from the onset. So I was actually in the beginning worked on the curriculum with then Professor Smith, who was the head of the ICT department then, to actually create the curriculum, because animation is not something you found here when I returned as a professional animator. So my feeling was to bring it into the curriculum, and the University of Trinidad and Tobago, then under Professor Julian, actually was open very much to that. So therefore, a platform was created, and we are celebrating our 8th screening today with the degree program starting in 2018. So in 2018, we will actually have a degree in the digital media arts.
Right. Well, we actually have a very short clip of past UTT animations that we would like to show the audience. So let's just go to that to give you some context. funny thing is we look at cartoons and we look at so many different things and we don't really realize how much work actually went into it. How long would a production like that take to put together?
Well, for their film, they spend the first year understanding the whole principle behind making animation. So storyboard, video tools, how to use video tools, how to use design tools, the principles of animation, even down to entrepreneurship. So that first year is based on that.
Right.
The last year really is about their film. So they spend a year to do 2 minutes, probably 2.5. 2 minutes, 2.5 is quite long. The average is about a minute and a half. And that's how much work is put into it. Yeah.
Tell me about storyboarding, Brandon. When during the break I asked you what it is you wanted to do in the future in terms of pursuing a career, and you told me that you wanted to be a storyboarder.
Yes. Okay, before a movie or animation is developed, it has to go through a storyboard process. And basically what that is you set up certain shots and scenes of what character does what and says what. So imagine a little box with a quick sketch of the character doing something, and below the sketch will be a quick description of what he says or how long he does it or anything. You're just saying what's happening.
Okay. Apart from storyboarding, what are some of the other careers students who are studying animation can pursue?
Yes, and that's a very, very important question, because at the end of the day, not everybody will come out wanting to do animation one or even being the best animator. So within the program, we have things like storyboard, utilizing some of the top software, world-class software, so that even if they leave Trinidad, they actually could use the software that's in the studios abroad. So we have storyboard, we have editing, we have character design, we have script development, we have 3D technology, 2D technology. It is important that we give our students the ability to fit into the real world, and also it is important for us to look at the value chain of animation, because there are many other things that these students could do when they leave the program. Very important.
Now I want to talk a little bit about technology. Now when you think about animation, you talk about every day some new technique is being released.
Yeah.
Some new, something is released to help to enhance how this is done. How do you keep yourself updated to help to inform the students of the latest, and how far are we behind in terms of Trinidad and Tobago in comparison to persons in the US?
So again, a very important question, and the two parts are very important. Yes, it is one of the challenges in this field where the technology changes constantly. So therefore, as a university, we have to keep up with the technology, with the software. When we first designed the program, it was very important that the students were exposed to real-life situations. So part of their training was entrepreneurship also. So for instance, the t-shirt he's wearing, it was like, we said to them, listen, you have to also think about marketing yourself. So in your Toon market today, you have a table that you can display your merchandise.
That's brilliant.
Right?
Yeah.
So they came up with the concept with t-shirts, keychains. Some of them have some very extremely interesting objects, right?
That's really nice.
So, in order to keep up, you must have an institution that understands that. And I think working with UTT, it's open like that, in the sense that we have to have the software and the hardware. Of course, budget is always an issue, but we work with our corporate office, UTT's corporate office, to look at funding in other places. So we source funding from, for instance, EDF, the European Development Fund, which was able to actually we were able to create our green screen lab. Now, our green screen lab is something that is happening now. It's where the technology is going, is the ability to use the entire green screen, create your 3D background or character, and you're able to place anybody in any part of the world because you have that. In order to do that, you have to have a lab that is suitable to that. So we probably would have been challenged with resources from UTT, but we were still able to utilize the offices at UTT to get that additional fund through other funding. So that's one way of keeping up with the technology. Your other question was the last one.
In comparison, Trinidad and Tobago in comparison to the US, so we're far behind.
I mean, we right now we're talking nanotechnology. That's what the world is talking about, nanotechnology. I can't even explain to you what nanotechnology is. It's crazy, right? That is not even on the topic in schools. It's not even taught, right, Brandon? It's not even taught in schools.
So is the issue financing? Would you say the issue is being able to afford that kind of thing?
I think Brandon wants to say something, so he could, and then I'll answer it. It's good to get their perspective.
Yeah, I guess you could say financing would be a problem because, oh boy, one of the things we need desperately is a Cintiq, right? And to
what is it?
A Cintiq, it's like
a tablet.
Okay.
That's like a monitor you can actually draw on.
Okay.
Yeah, and to maintain that is expensive because the programs, if you don't maintain it, then the programs will crash, and if the programs crash, then your film is out the window.
Okay.
So we have the Cintiqs at UTT, but when they leave UTT, how are they going to? So we are trying to see if we could create a platform for the students who leave to be able to have access to. That's one of the things that we're working on. But what is important regarding your question, how we compare, I think Trinidad, as far as a region, we are very much in the forefront.
Nice.
This program was created first in the Caribbean, and we have Jamaica following, Guyana following, Barbados following. So we are very much in the forefront. But as far as what can make us really be out there, it's sort of radical. We have to radically look at the education system in Trinidad and Tobago. We really have to look at that and see what do we teach kids about computers. Is it just how to fix a computer, or is it how to create things for a computer? Do we teach children? At the moment, young people, they watch television, right? They watch games, they go on to YouTube. Are we teaching children to consume animation, or are we teaching to create animation? That's what we're doing with these guys.
Yeah.
We are teaching them to create animation. Instead of being consumers, they have to be creators.
Do you love it enough to actually create it, I guess?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they do, because I'll tell you, a diploma anywhere else in the world, they hardly ever get to do a film. We had to push them because we have a lot of catching up to do, poor things. But at the end of it, they enjoy it.
Are there other academic institutions, such as UTT, here in Trinidad that offers animation?
They do, not on the level that we do,
Okay.
but they do, yes, quite a few, yeah.
So let's talk about what can be done to even attract persons to pursue animation in Trinidad and Tobago. What do you think we can do? As even UTT, do you think you all are advertising enough?
I think we are, but again, it is about how do we reach these guys, right?
And it's about how they look at it, because when someone hears animation, they just think cartoons. When it's more than cartoons, it's about, well, basically anything you see on TV that's not live action is animation. And you could take advantage of that and do all sorts of stuff, like, as I said during the break, advertising, games, and other stuff.
How viable is this field in terms of gainful employment?
Well, when we first started, this was one of the challenges. This was like an empty desert when I came, right? Now you have studios around. You have people who actually do it on their own, and would be called up with agencies to do things. There was a very interesting event where a job was being created for KFC, and the person who was the designer or the creator for the job called on to endless past students.
Okay, to help to create.
And they created a job for KFC. Nice. KFC is a huge brand, but they were able to do that. So that model works in Trinidad. You could call up the freelancers, the students. They have an alumni now, so they officially have an alumni. If people want to get in contact with the students, we can put them on to them. This is how it's done. But we do have a studio that is functioning and doing international outsourcing work. That's Full Circle Animation Studio. You have Lab 206. You have Coded Arts. These are all came out of the UTT program. Through USTART also, and USTART is an incubator for the University of Trinidad and Tobago. So they gave them support after their training.
All right, so the final thing, just to inform the audience of where this will be taking place, this event called Toon Market at 5 p.m.
At 5 p.m. at the University of Trinidad and Tobago Academy for Performing Arts, which is at Keith Street, Queen's Park, Savannah.
Is it open to members of the public?
It is.
It's free of charge as well?
Yes, it's free of charge.
All right, great.
And we're asking people to just come support them, give them a, and they will have their little table with their merchandise and products that you could support them with. So
it's beautiful.
Looking forward.
Thank you so much for being part of our show, and best of luck with this initiative.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.